Good evening and welcome everyone to the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting of August 22nd, 2024. I will open the meeting at 6:03 PM. I will begin by taking roll call. Trustee Tavera,
President.
trustee Bloom,
Present.
and I myself am present. Quorum is present. I believe we have a trustee on the way, which is trustee Nunez. I will move on to item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. Before I continue, I will make note that we will be pulling item 7D. We're pulling item 7D, which is a consideration to approve agreement with Powers. Aside from that, do we have any additional questions or comments regarding the agenda? Oh, we will also be pulling item 7A as well. Any other questions or comments? As I see none, I will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 3-0. We will move on to closed session, which is item number 3. If you wish to address the board on any matters that will be discussed during closed session, now is your time. Trustee Nunez is present at 6:04. Back to item number 3, which is a closed session. As I see no speakers, we will go into closed session at 6:05 PM. Thank you. we will reconvene open session at 6:33 PM. I'll report back on matters discussed during closed session for item 3A. There was discussion, no action was taken. No action was taken. Moving on to item number 6, which is from the floor. So if there's any members of the public that wish to address the board on any matters that are not agendized, there's speaker slips in the corner, and now is your time. Do we have any speaker slips for this? As I see no speakers from the floor, we will move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. 2 items were pulled, which is item 7A and 7B. I pulled item 7A as I was not here during our last board meeting.
Right, okay, I will entertain a motion to approve item number 7A.
I make the motion to approve agenda item 7A.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0 with 1.
Moving on to item 7D, 7D was pulled. So was tabled, not. So I will entertain a motion for item 7, which is the consent agenda minus item 7A and 7D.
I will make a motion to pass item 7 without item 7A.
Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to number 8, which is board reports and communication. So I will start off this section. There are 3 things I would like to talk upon. The first one is welcome back, Ravenswood, to another school year. I am so happy, thrilled, and excited for our staff members and just everybody who's been putting in the work over the last couple weeks to ensure that the school year starts high and continues to be on that thread. As some of you may not have known, I currently have a family funeral, which is why I wasn't able to make some of our activities going into the launch of our school year, but we have awesome trustees that were able to attend, and I'm excited to hear more from them about all of that. The second thing is at Bloomhouse, we are offering free tickets to the Bay FC and Barcelona game that's happening next Tuesday. The tickets are free, and right now they are unlimited. So if you want 50 tickets, you can get 50 tickets. Just send an email to Superintendent Sudaria and then she'll pass it along. The last board report that I have is last week, over a week ago, our community lost a pillar, a legacy leader, and an inspiration that has been doing the work here in East Palo Alto and in the Bay Area for the last couple of decades. Mama D was a mentor of mine, Sam, and a lot of the community members. She was a pioneer when it came to advocating for our young people, for advocating for mental health services and ensuring that our community, as well as the Pacific Islander community in the greater Bay Area, gets the resources that they need. And so I want to offer our heartfelt condolences to the Ubuhila Moilani family. And I just want to say that the work that she's done across our district, going back since the 90s, is unparalleled. And this is such a loss that we all feel. And so in our next board meeting, I will be bringing a proclamation before the board in celebration of all the work that Momadi has done for our community. So thank you all, and our condolences to the Ubuhila Moilani family. Do we have any other board reports?
I will just echo what you were saying about Mama D. I actually lived on the same street as Mama D when we moved in. And so my first interaction in meeting her was walking my kids in the stroller on the carrier. And she stopped and she engaged me. She asked me where I'm from. She talked to my kids, and she literally saw my kids grow up for the last 10 years, 9 years. And so one of the things about Mama D is everything that our president has said is that she wasn't just a mentor to Pacific Islander families, but she was a mentor for the whole community. And she always brought you in, and she always shared her culture. And that's something that, you know, transcends like just it transcends your typical leadership, but it's also so typical for East Palo Alto. And so as a community member, I mean, they even had my dad over there talking to them when he came to visit. And just knowing the immense investment she has put in so many people across cultures, across barriers, drawing people together to make this community better. It's an experience and an example for every leader who wants to lead in this city, in this district, and in this county. And even beyond that, right? She was an international leader. She made sure she went back to her home country. And I, you know, send my condolences to her children, specifically to Tiffany and Shauna, who have done a lot of work in Ravenswood and is still doing a lot of work with Anamatangi Voices with our youth. We know that we need as many people as possible uplifting our youth. That's what they did. So I really hope that we all can continue to work together to make our community better, but also just condolences to the family. And I, you know, share the same sentiments that President Latu shared, that she is someone that will not be forgotten, and she worked pretty much until the day she was gone. And we know, and she was working for the youth, for the children. And so it's just such a great example. And I plan to go to her services. There are services for the community who do want to attend. There are some that are going on today, right now. And then there will also be one tomorrow at 9 a.m. So if anyone did want to pay their respects, there is space and time there, and I believe it is at the church on Hamilton in Palo Alto. I don't know the name of the church, but if community members did want to pay respects, that is where they could go. And I have other board reports for the first day of school, but I want to let others, if anyone wants to say anything about Mama D.
Yeah, thank you. And through the chair, also just continue to echo what my colleagues are saying about Mama D. I say this so respectfully, but what made Mama D a great leader was not that she was the best or the brightest or the most innovative. You know, we live in the Silicon Valley with innovation. What made her so great was that she saw the needs of her community, both the Pacific Islander community, but our community, East Palo Alto as a whole. And she saw their needs and it burdened her, and she said, I'm going to do something about it. And that's what's so impactful about her life and her legacy, because she gave her life in service when many others wouldn't. And some of the great services that our community have and the access to resources that our community have are because she was willing to stand up and advocate. And she has been a great mentor in my life, and I thank her. And I also want to honor Papa Center and Michael, Sanita Jr., Tiffany and Shauna for sharing their wife and their mother with us, because she saw us as her own. And we just love the family, and we love Mama D, and we're gonna miss her. And it feels so unreal also because people like Mama D, like Dr. Faye, who was also a great mentor in my life, you kind of just think they're gonna live forever because they're so amazing. But we just want to honor her life and her legacy and all the work and what she means to our community. I love East Palo Alto, but we're shining a little less brighter right now because we're hurting, but we're gonna continue to press forward because that's what she would want. And yeah.
I'll continue my board report for the first day of school. So it was a great experience for our kids because of the construction that was happening and stuff like that. The Los Robles staff did a really good job of ushering kids and knowing where they need to go. My kids did complain a little bit that, oh my goodness, we can walk so far. But then they were like, we can't walk to school because if we walk to school, then we won't have energy to walk to class. And I was like, no, I think we're gonna be okay on energy. I think this is exactly what we need to do, and we should walk home too. But they have just really enjoyed the time there. Every single time I asked them how was school, they were like, it was great. It was great. And it in the morning was rough, and I know this is a lot, but the morning is rough because even at, fourth grade, this is not the first time that they've had the first day of school, but every school year it's new. And every school year there are new feelings that people and children have. And that morning was a roller coaster ride with two different sets of feelings from two different children for me. One super excited, ready to get at the door. The other one a little sad, a little upset, a little anxious, not sure what the day was going to hold. So when I dropped them off, I was a little concerned of, I wonder how the day is going to go. And just to hear, even this week, when I pick up, how did it go? It was great. I love school. It's amazing. And telling me all about what homework they're going to have and all that stuff, it just feels really good in my heart that knowing even in the midst of transition, the staff, the after school program, the teachers, the principals, everybody has created this space that is so welcoming for our children. To the new recipes that are being made by our child nutrition people. It's just, I get to hear about all of that from a kid's lens. So just know that the impact that's being made is just really, really amazing. And the kids feel it, because now it's like every morning we're going out the door and there is no, I don't want to go to school today. And I know that's coming later, but right now it's still very exciting. And they're so excited to be there and be in the classroom. So thank you all for the work that you guys do to make that.
I also want to report and talk about the first day of school. I want to thank all of the staff across every school site and our district office. Every staff member that is working behind the scenes. I am a first-time parent putting a student in school, a child in school. My daughter started TK and she's at Belhaven. And I'm very excited for her. I want to be super honest. It was very hard for me. I spoke to superintendent about my reservations, but and I kind of disguised them as my wife's, but it was mostly me. I'll be very honest. And it's hard to let them go because they've been at home the whole time, and the worries of all this. But there comes a point in time where you kind of have to launch them off and hope for the best. But in this sense, I felt so excited. Seeing all of our staff involved throughout the different facets. I see Joy in the back. I saw her and Austin doing traffic control, doing a great job. So super excited about that. And then my daughter just being so excited, so ready, even though I wasn't. As I woke up in the morning, sometimes she takes a little longer to get ready or to wake up, but I woke her up, I was like, hey, we're gonna go to school. And she jumped out, was so excited, like ran to the bathroom, like, let's brush our teeth, like, let's go. And so thankful. She's loving it. She loves her teacher, Miss Aguilar at Belhaven, and Miss Guyano. And we're just excited to go through this learning process. But it's exciting, and I'm so thankful to all of our staff and everyone who's working so hard behind the scenes. So thank you all.
I can also echo the first week of school, since my daughter is also starting at Ravenswood. And I'll echo a lot of Sam's concerns that I think we're having a harder time than she is at times. In the mornings are still a little rough, but every day when I ask her, I'm like, so are we done? Are we just taking you out? Because TK is optional. She's like, no, I have to go back. And the lessons that she's already learning, and even talking to her teacher, like, it's very reassuring. The different things that they learn that you can't really teach at home. And so when we went to back to school night, the teacher had a thing. She's like, oh, well, by the end of TK, they need to know these 20 things. And I looked through the list. I'm like, well, my kid knows a lot of this, so I can't just pull her. But then she started going into the executive functioning and the other skills that you don't really learn at home. And so then I'm like, okay, yeah, she doesn't know that. She has a lot to grow in that area. And so the ways that you can still push students, even when you think they're ready, like, there's still many other things that you can't do at home. And I'm thankful for the teachers that know this, because I'm a high school teacher, not an elementary or any little ones. And so they're even putting me in my place of the things that I don't know, that I just don't know. And so I'm really thankful for the experience. I think I'll continue to struggle for the whole year. But every day she comes home and she wants to go back, even if in the morning she fights us to go. But I'm really excited and thankful for all the staff and everyone that plays a role that we don't see and maybe we do see, because it's really nice to have my kid in the community. I can walk her to school. We've been starting a bike to pick her up, and it's really nice to see how many neighbors I didn't know were in the school system are in the school system. And I'm like, oh, I can go to you if something ever happens, or but it's just building community even with our neighbors. So thank you to everybody, and I'm really excited to have her at our schools.
So, we'll move on now to item number 9, which is the superintendent's report.
That our trustees have confidence in the school district that they are serving and directing. I always preface when I was a principal that we should be able to have pride in our schools and send our own students, our own children to our schools, and the fact that our trustees are doing that, I'm like beaming over here. But I did want to talk a little bit about just how our first day of school is going, as well as some professional development that's underway. And just always starting with our Ravenswood promise, where we want to make sure from the Board of Trustees to our management, RTA, and CSA unit members that we're working together to create a transformative educational experience for our students. Just to remind us that we're anchoring our work around our Ravenswood promise, where we find joy in who we are and the communities we are part of. We approach our learning with a growth mindset, and we discover and explore with an open mind. And so when I present to the board superintendent report, I do want to highlight, when appropriate, and elevate these promises. So looking at the agenda, I want to cover joy and community, learning and growth, discovery and exploration. You might have seen this in our newsletter. Joy Shen, our Assistant Director of Strategy Engagement, ensure that our newsletter reflects our learner profile. And so I think we should always revisit this as a board. In regards to what we've been able to cover so far in the, actually it should say, I think it's the 7th day of school today. Friday is the 8th day of school. But we want to make sure we create and uphold a safe, caring, and intellectually stimulating learning environment that affirms student agency, voice, identity, and development, and promotes equity and inclusivity. This is CSTP 2. And we want to have all of our team members uphold CSTP 2. And that is our goal. Our goal is to set the tone for a successful school year, elevating our learner profile, focusing on our priorities, and then ensuring that we are creating a conducive environment for learning for all, and also for our team members. So the first slide here is just some snippets of the first day of school at CCRMS, a lot of joy there. And then as well at our elementary schools on the next slide, where you have Los Robles, Lona McNair, Bellhaven Elementary, and Castaño School of the Arts. Again, our trustees mentioned how there was construction at one site, literally made a home over the summer in a brand new, or I should say a temporary location at the time for this moment in time for the year. And they did such an exceptional job as a team, the custodians, the C&E workers, the teachers, the principal, office staff, over the weekend, late at night. And this is across the sites to make sure first day of school was very special for our students, and it set the tone of what to expect for the remainder of the year. We have back to school nights. Los Robles Lona McNair already had their ice cream social on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. They reached out to families who couldn't make those dates, and then they're going to reach out to those families who they couldn't during minimum days and do more of a one-on-one. We do have some upcoming dates though. August 28th is Bellhaven's back to school night. September 4th is Costaño's, and Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School will host their back to school night September 17th. And they had a great barbecue, welcome back barbecue this past Friday. So in regards to approaching our learning with the growth mindset, I do want to make sure that we focus in this section around our priorities and how we're constantly focusing on language and literacy, attendance, and talent. We're going to very briefly just focus on beginning of the year assessments, as it aligns to the fact that we're trying to set grade level goals for our students. So it's really important that we establish a baseline so that then we can set the goals with our students, inform our practices, to ensure that we're planning day-to-day instruction that moves and accelerates student learning. And so we've created this, the teaching and learning team has established the beginning of the year assessments. And our goal is for these beginning of the year assessments to be completed by next Friday. Not all of the assessments apply to students. For example, first through fifth grade is only necessary if they need a placement test for SIPs, as well as in sixth through eighth grade. To be mindful, our third through eighth grade are doing their iReady beginning of the year assessments, and we'll be able to share that information with you when we do our vital signs on the 12th. And in regards to professional development, it's all about giving our teams the tools and strategies they need to continue to grow and improve in their practice. And we want to make sure everyone feels supported and equipped to do their best work, whether it's in the classroom or in other roles. You see on the left, I had the experience of experiencing some training that our van drivers and bus drivers were receiving from Durrell Wesley, who's the director of transportation at Sequoia Unified High School District. He's well revered by our team and always comes and does some great training. It's just not about just gaining new skills. We really want to make sure that we're creating a culture where everyone's continually reaching out and learning and sharing ideas and leaning in to impact our students' lives. And I feel like we need to invest in ourselves so we can continue to invest in our students, which then impacts the greater community. This past Wednesday, also, our teachers across our school sites were focusing on English language development and training around the curriculum specifically. And as you know, language is one of our top 3 priorities, language and literacy. And our special education team as well is moving from one intervention program to SIPs so that we are aligned across all of our reading intervention. And just around our discovery and exploration, really quickly, I had a chance to participate with Sarah Stone and the team that she convened to create a CTE task force. This is not our key priority, but we are developing this as we prepare to establish a key program where we want to make sure we are exploring how to leverage the expertise of our middle school CTE teacher, Tina Collier. We also have a exceptional VAPA lead, Missy Brown. And then we have some key partners, the Circuit EPA, Street Code, and then we're working with STEM for Real. We want to develop a state-of-the-art CTE program and be the first here in the Bay Area and middle school to have that program. So again, Sarah convened, our Assistant Superintendent Teaching and Learning has convened a CTE task force. And the ultimate goal is to spark curiosity, make learning enjoyable. And we want to start as early as TK. Now, obviously, we're not going to do some of these robust programs in TK, but we definitely want to expose them through hands-on experiences, introduce them to various career pathways, building their confidence in the skills for high school, college, and career, especially considering where we are in Silicon Valley. And yeah, we're really dedicated. We want to make sure we have dedicated educators and utilize our partnerships to create this environment for students to be innovative and explore their passion. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? I see none. We're going to jump back to item 8A, which is policy and administrative regulations presented to the board for first reading. Just a note. Now we'll move on to item number 10, which is the consideration to approve the tentative agreement with Ravenswood Teachers Association.
Yes, so we have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Joan O'Neill, as well as our Ravenswood Teachers Association President, Nicole Sullivan, who will co-present.
Good evening, trustees. I'm excited to be joined by Nicole Sullivan, our new RTA president here in Ravenswood. In front of you this evening, we are asking for your approval for the tentative agreement for the 24-25 school year which includes a 2.58% increase to our career ladder, our salary schedule, as well as an increase to the district contribution towards health benefits. The proposal is moving from 75% coverage of the Kaiser plus dependent plans to 80% coverage.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? As I see none, I will entertain a motion for item 10.
I move to approve item 10.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 11, which is a consideration to approve the disclosure from RCSD regarding initial proposal with the Classified School Employees Association, chapter number 303 CSEA.
Megan. Good evening, trustees again. So in front of you, we have the district and our CSCA partners who are behind us. But this is the initial proposals to opening bargaining for the 24-25 school year. What we are proposing is to reopen wages and benefits.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? I will entertain a motion for item number 11.
I make a motion to approve item number 11.
One is from the district and one is from CSCA. 11, which includes that information. question.
I believe there was a motion pending. Sam,
Yes, through the chair, I make a motion to approve agenda item number 11.
thank you, trustee Tavera.
I will second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Do we have any? Oh, we do have a speaker card for 12. Oh, got it. Moving on to item number 12, which is the update on the KIP renewal submission and process. Dr. Eager.
Good evening, trustees. I have two very brief presentations tonight, both interesting. I wanted to let the board know and the broader public know that we have received a renewal proposal request from KIF Charter School. Tonight, I'm not speculating or commenting on the merits or process or specific review of their proposal. I am just simply outlining our requirements around the process that we have to follow with regards to their submission. So I did post on our website for broad sort of public review the about 1,200 pages of a proposal that KIP has submitted on Monday. I have not reviewed all 1,200 pages, although we're working our way through it. But it is there sort of for public review. Just as a quick reminder, there are two charter schools that are authorized by the district that exist within district boundaries. They are KIP Valiant Community Prep and EPAC's Aspire Charter School. KIP is located at Willow School. EPAC's is at a site at 1286 Runnymede. Here are just some sort of high-level overviews of them. Just to call attention to the board, the KIP charter is currently set to expire on June 30th, 2025. And the Aspire charter is set to expire June 30th, 2027. We do have separate facility use agreements with both charter schools governing their spaces, which run sort of in parallel to their overall charters. These are our statutory requirements for when we have to respond to a charter petition. So just so the board is sort of aware, these are not the district's preferences. These are sort of designed by Ed Code about when we have to respond. KIP submitted their charter petition on August 19th. That gives us 60 days to hold a public hearing. Those are at board meetings, so that would line up with a board meeting on September 26th. At the same time, we have 90 days maximum to make a formal, or sorry, the board has 90 days to make a formal determination on whether or not to approve the renewal request. That lines up with an October 24th board date with a October 9th public hearing where staff would present their findings and or recommendations around the renewal. I would note, based on the state dashboard, KIP falls into a category called presumptive non-renew. That limits the ability, if the board does so choose to renew the charter, that would limit the renewal period to 2 years. So the district has no ability, to my understanding, to give a longer renewal. So we couldn't give a 20-year renewal should the board so choose. We also couldn't give a 1-year renewal should the board so choose. With that, I'll conclude my presentation.
Do we have any questions or comments regarding item 12? Do we have a speaker?
Yeah, through the chair, we have one speaker for agenda item 12. Speaker is Mark Westerberg.
Yep.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Mark Westberg. I am with the California School Employees Association, the district's classified union. I'm here tonight on behalf of our many hardworking unit members and the classified bargaining unit. As you are aware, CSEA's members have served the families in the communities of East Palo Alto for decades. Many of our members grew up in the community, went to Ravenswood schools, and today they are proud to be educators in the district's traditional public schools. I am here tonight to address the topic of the district's independent charter schools and the potential renewal of its charters, including KIP, whose charter is up for renewal this year, in 2025. First and foremost, I would like to commend the board for adopting resolution 1262 in May of 2019. As you may recall, some of you were here. This resolution declares unanimous support for several key pieces of legislation which help restore local control to school boards regarding decisions which pertain to charter schools at their districts. Following the board's adoption of the resolution, several of the pro-local control bills referenced in the resolution were passed into law. These laws created new opportunities for school boards across California, including at Ravenswood, to make their own decisions about charter schools, which impact their respective districts. Secondly, I'd like to clarify some misconceptions that I've heard about CSEA's position on charter schools. Just for the record, CSEA is not anti-charter. However, CSEA does share concerns with many public school educators and experts about the impact that charter schools have on public school districts. As you may recall, there is a very well-known kind of first of its kind report from the Research and Policy Center in the Public Interest, where they published a report and found that charter schools at several school districts across California, including nearby school districts such as Oakland Unified and nearby Eastside High School District, had directly led to multi-million-dollar deficits. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? As I see none, it's not an action item, so we'll move on to item number 13, which is the brief facility. I like that it says brief facilities update.
Good evening, trustees. It should be only about 45 minutes or so.
Cap at 5.
I just wanted to, I know Superintendent Savaria touched on this in her sort of brief remarks earlier. I just wanted to highlight some pictures from kind of back to school. We have a lot of construction going on right now at all of our school campuses. Some of you are experiencing that as parents. Some of you are seeing that through a fence. It's probably a good time to think about doing another, potentially, if the board's interested, just a tour across the campus, because we really have stuff kind of happening everywhere right now. Quickly, just on the middle school, ton of progress on the maintenance side. So our maintenance team really took the lead in kind of finishing up the core campus, getting rid of some of those little bits and pieces of things that were kind of left over from the remodel, finishing up some really nice courtyards to match. So at this point, there's really nowhere on the campus other than a couple of places with construction fencing where we have, chain link fencing or gaps in walls or unfinished things or cracked asphalt. The school really has come together in a really spectacular way, and the maintenance team is really taking the lead on those finishing touches. To the east of the school, you can kind of see that the Magical Bridge Park really fully underway at this point. We're a little behind where we'd like to be on getting the tennis courts up. This sort of not not too far gone look at where the tennis courts are going here, but you can see the new classrooms going in, the new underground storage retention system. This is a really big deal. This allows us to treat a lot of the stormwater, if not all the stormwater, on site, which is a huge environmental advantage to the site. So a lot of things happening at the middle school. Los Robles is gone as we knew it, which was a big effort. And I want to shout out Reese Matsumoto, who's taking the lead on a lot of this project. We were able to really quickly install while giving maximum time to the existing CDC on site, which created a lot of logistical challenges, but was good for kids in the community. Able to install 3 classrooms, 2 sets of bathroom wings, over at the CDC, making that campus ready for older elementary students, not early childhood, as well as making really sizable progress on major demolition at the Los Robles campus. So these 2 wings are more or less gone. Obviously, the frame's still there, but when we're doing that modernization, we really are taking things down to the studs, and in many cases, replacing studs if they have termite damage or other kind of insect damage. Bellhaven, similarly, on the move here, you can see the massive amount of demolition that they're taking out as they work to fully gut the campus. So a lot of demolition happening right now across our campuses. We have had some fearless staff members, want to make sure this is called out here, on our campuses, braving the elements to make sure they're looking good in hard hats and avoiding debris from the ceiling, as well as, and we're obviously still in a makeshift school over at Bellhaven, but I thought this year it really, I was there one day and it just looks nice. It looks like a good school, even though it's temporary. We still want to make sure, you only get TK once, you only get kindergarten once. We want to make sure that even though it's temporary, it's still meeting the needs of our students, even though the new finished product is going to be even better. So good progress there. Other progress that doesn't have nice photos, we did make some work at Castano. I don't want to neglect that. But we did do some major moves there, although we didn't do a lot of maintenance work there this summer. And then the district office is into DSA right now, waiting for their feedback and comments. The community hub just received their comments from DSA earlier this week. And the 2 housing developments, ground leases, are both working their way through the cities, East Palo Alto and Menlo Park, respectively. Continuing to move, perhaps not as quickly as anybody would like, but moving in a material and substantive way. So that was my brief presentation. I don't know if I hit my 5-minute target, but I talked faster than the translators probably like. So I'll conclude my presentation.
Do you have any questions or comments from you? As I go?
Just thank you to all the people who are doing all this work, owning it, moving it along, working in the places, and all the people who have to teach and do all that stuff near these spaces as well. So thank you.
Also, thank you to our neighbors for not calling the police and being great neighbors to all of our school sites. We appreciate you. Moving on, we will move on to item number 14, which is the consideration to approve resolution SY 25-2, board member excuse absences for trustee Shabomahan, who's living her best life. Can I entertain a motion? I'll move to approve item 14 for trustee Shabomahan.
In solidarity of our slate, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, wait, we have to read the resolution, I'm sorry.
Resolution number SY 25-2, board members excuse absences, whereas Education Code 3512085 authorizes each member of the board.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to item number 15, we will hold a special board meeting study session on September 4th, 2024, starting at 4 p.m. The next regular board meeting will be held on September 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Open session will be at 6:45 p.m. And I will adjourn the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting August 22nd at 7:13 PM. Thank you.